Hello, I'm Robert, and fact check and science blogger, and helping with Doomsday Debunked on Facebook, where we fact check these scary stories. And this one, this was a really big mistake that has been running it was started on Reuters, and it's now on Japan Times, Washington Post, and many places. And so Reuters said that, talking about some research, that they estimated that the central Chinese city of Wuhan will have 190,000 cases of infection by February the 4th. That's absolutely huge. 190,000 cases. Now, and you're at a death rate of 4%, then you would have thousands of people dying if that was correct. This is not valid at all. What they didn't explain is it's just a preprint. It wasn't published research. It was just a preprint that often is either mistaked or subject to change. And the lead author of that paper himself, John Reed, then he says that he's already updated it, and for the 22nd of January, they are using new data. Through the 22nd of January, they have new numbers. And it's based on this R0, which is how many people are infected. And if each patient infects one other, then it has to be one. If that is less than one, then the disease is coming to an end, because you get fewer infections as time goes on. They're estimating 2.5 at the moment, with a confidence interval of 2.4 to 2.6. But before, and the one that's actually published, is 3.8, the confidence interval 3.6 to 4.0. So there isn't a lot of confidence in the confidence interval. I mean that can't be right. That you have confidence interval, very unlikely that was correct confidence interval if it's now suddenly changed to 2.5. But I mean, you expect that sort of thing from a preprint. So and as it says here, right at the top of the page, it says this article is a preprint and has not been peer reviewed. It reports new medical research that has yet to be evaluated and so should not be used to guide clinical practice. And Reuters has just ignored that and just said they estimated this, and using that not just to guide clinical practice and advise everyone around the world, and it's then it's been put on New Japan Times, Washington Post, as I said, all sorts of places are running this and saying that these researchers have predicted 190,000 cases of infection. They have not. All they had was a preprint, and on the very day that they published this, the researcher that's published on the 24th, look, it went up on the preprint server, and where does it say it? Somewhere it says, I have to look to find it, maybe it's under my image, yes, posted 24th of January, that's when it went up on medRxiv preprint server. And on the very same day, then the lead author said that the number there is wrong, that this number, 3.8, is wrong, and based on all that, all the other numbers are dependent on that one. So they're all wrong as well. So he just needs to go and rewrite it, and he may rewrite it several times and then get it peer reviewed before it gets published. And what we should actually go by at this point, the WHO is our best bet, I think. They have a preliminary estimate of 1.4 to 2.5. Now, this is based on the situation in Wuhan as it was, because obviously you get less people infected if you take more precautions. And people always take precautions anyway. They take some precautions. And so they're now taking, for instance, and that would be since all these estimates, then the medical staff, for instance, all wearing these isolation suits, whatever you call them, and and then the general public, they're all wearing masks, and the masks, they don't do too much to protect you, but they they do prevent you from sneezing and coughing and infecting other people. And they should be washing their hands if they're following the public advice. And indeed, they've actually pretty much stopped loads of businesses all over Wuhan. They've stopped the wildlife market that it all started from. They've stopped planes leaving. They've stopped cars leaving, and people are just staying at home. And there's much less opportunity for anyone to be infected. So it'd be very surprising if it is still this range of 1.4 to 2.5. And if they can get it down to less than 1, then that means that the infection is going to come to an end. It can't continue. Once it's less than 1, once each patient infects less than 1 more patient, then its time is up at some point over the next few weeks, or it could be longer if it's just a little bit less than 1, then it's going to stop. Because each round of infections, the fewer, say you have 1,000, then you have 900, then you have 9/10 of 900, which would be 810, and then you, and so on. You keep on doing that, and then eventually you've got very few left. But if you can get that down to, say, 0.1, so internationally, then that seems, well, just, you can't really say it, but it's very hard to make these estimates. But at the moment, internationally, then we have only one example in Vietnam, and the international measures have been very effective. People are not infecting other people on the same plane. When they turn in and they say, "Oh, I've got infected," then they don't infect the medical staff. They don't infect even their own relatives, because they keep them all separated. And so this is so different from the situation in China. And so I'm going to talk about that a bit more in my other video. I just want to keep just a little bit more about it. So if I go back there, then if you go back to the situation in China, it started on the 1st of December, and the market wasn't closed until the 1st of January. And so all those cases were continuing. They didn't even know that they had a new virus. It wasn't sequenced until the 11th of January. So this is so different from the situation now, where we have our first new case, say, in Canada. I think we now have 2 in Canada. But they know immediately that it's this virus. They check everyone, they contain everything. And it's extremely different from what's happening in China, what happened in China originally. And then this 1.4 or 2.5 or 3.8 or whatever it is, it's about the early stages. And obviously, a bit after that, and it's going through to the 22nd, but so much more is being done since then. Stopped the planes in the 23rd. So you should not pay any attention to this figure of 190,000. It's just vaporware at the moment, in a way. It's just a preprint server. It's not sensible. The paper itself said that this is only applies if that the new precautions, the taking precautions on, would obviously reduce these figures. So these figures are just what it would be like if you didn't have any precautions, any new precautions. So it was always a caveat anyway, and 190,000 meant only 190,000 by 4th of February, in a very hypothetical situation where these new measures make no difference at all. But it's not 190,000, it's far, far less. And so we can go and look and get a more plausible figure if we go here. So I'm going to talk about this again next time, but we go here to the 2,903. So Wikipedia sometimes is a bit more up to date, and that's copied from them. But there's 2,827, so now it's 2,903, 82 deaths. I should maybe go to the latest on Wikipedia and see what the very latest is, and as of doing this. But the most important things are the suspected cases, which Wikipedia don't think actually covers in its table. Let's just quickly go. So there we are, there's its table. Outbreak by country is still 82, and total 2,926, a little bit up. And international cases would be that subtracted from that, 2,863, So that's 37 plus 26, 63 I think. No, 62, no, 800. Oh, I'm not going to. Can it be 63? Yeah, just double check it. '63. So the 63 cases internationally. So far, only one is known to be an infection. That's the Vietnam one, and they're tracking 32,000 close contacts. So it's always possible that some of those will become confirmed spaces. Some of the confirmed cases could become, suspected cases and then become confirmed cases. Then in critical condition, and 461 in critical condition, and a fair number of those might die. So that 82 figure is bound to go up, but it's not likely it goes up to 190,000 of the infected, and or thousands that die. So it's not likely at the moment. So anyway, I'll stop this, and that was just about that paper. Upload this, and then I'm going to do some other short videos about various things that are bothering people.